G'day all. Today we're going to be constructing the J009 Smith machine and go through that assembly. The instructions that I could find in this and online were pretty useless. So I've gone through the hard labor. It took me about 8 hours to put together, but hopefully you don't have to do it for as long. Because you'll have this guide to help you out. Now you'll get the installation instructions. As you can see, you've got your parts here, and if you've got an engineering degree, maybe you can actually put it together in these 7 easy steps. Otherwise, it's pretty useless in my opinion, because it's essentially a picture book. Now, I've put IKEA furniture together, so I think I can handle this without this. So, yeah, we'll just get rid of that. What you are going to need is you can use the tools that are given to you. So you get 2 wrenches, small Allen key, large Allen key, and I would highly recommend getting a socket and wrench if you've got it. Because otherwise you're going to have to use these, and that is going to be a nightmare. So you're looking at the 11/16 socket, and you are also going to need a step ladder as well, because you're going to need to be able to reach top heights unless you're about 7 foot tall, and you're also going to need a volunteer to help you out. At least one. 2 would be better, but at least one. Now, whether or not they're willing participants or not, that's up to you. But you're definitely going to need extra set of hands. Anyway, so this is the unit itself, all fully put together, that I finished yesterday. So I got this Smith machine from Bricks Fitness. They've been super nice people, super helpful. So I thought I'd help them by putting a video together, because there was literally nothing online that was really what I would consider helpful. So to start off with, we'll go through the base first, and then the frame, and then after that we're going to be doing the cables as well. So to start off with, you're going to want to get, there's all different nuts, bolts, things like that. General rule of thumb is if it sits, it fits. You'll see on a lot of the brackets and that, the outside and base have got the round-headed bolts. Now, they've got a little square under here, and the metal's actually got a square. So square to square, square goes in the square hole. Simple things we learned in kindy. Now, the frame, so you're going to want to start off with these 2 pieces. So they've got to have the little sticky up things. You don't need to put the pulleys in now. We'll do that later. Just what you'll see is at the end here, you got your little cross section here. So just make sure that's at the back. Put the little feet on. They come separately. And now we're going to get the crossbar at the back here. A lot of the videos I saw said, don't do the crossbar down the bottom, do it up the top. But that didn't make a lot of sense to me, because, it works either way, and there's stability. So make sure you get the crossbar, which has the holes in the center here. Now, essentially, you're just going to bolt it together. Again, using your sockets. You're going to get some backing plates, which you've got a small one, long one, and a round one. So whichever one it fits. So you're going to put a backing plate on one side. And on the other side, you're going to put this doohickey here. So that's the thing that's going to hold your poles and things. So you got your small one, big one. You'll see that it's got the essentially a plate there. Doesn't matter which side you put it on, because beggars and choosers. You just need to put it on one side and put a backing plate on the other. So you're going to put this down, this down, this down, bolt it together with these ones here. Make sure to put your washers in as well. They are important. Plus you get a million bajillion of them and you don't want them sitting around. Now, after that, we're going to work on these poles here. So these poles here, they'll have a fork on the end of them. So it goes down one side and down the other. Now, in the instructions, it said that there should be a fork on both sides. The one that I got did not have that. It was a fork on one side and a flat part on the other side here. I'll get it so it's good lighting. So a flat part here instead. So it's not a fork going up these sides, just a flat part there. That's okay. So make sure the flat part's at the top. And then you want to bolt the forks at the bottom. Then after you've bolted the forks down, make sure the whole side's facing inwards towards you. After the forks are bolted in, you're going to want to bolt in these brackets here. Again, fork at the bottom, flat side here, plate at the back. Do both sides. Then after you've done that, we want to move over to these silver poles. So you got 3 silver poles, one each side and one at the back. The one at the back is a solid one, so you know that one goes at the back. The other ones are the whole side, so make sure the solid part is facing the outside. Little holes are facing the inside. And that's really it. Now you're going to bolt them to the bottom first. Now, there's going to be a little bit of a gap under here. Essentially, that's okay. That's good. What you want to do is after you've bolted both of these in, you want to lean it forward a little bit. It should just catch and it'll just sit out of your way until we're ready to move on from there. What we want to do now is we're going to move on to the actual Smith machine part. Now, this part was a bit of a pain for me. My brother and I put it together and we had more arguments than what we do playing family Monopoly. So it's a bit of a pain. Now, first off with these metal bars, you'll have one end that's actually got a bolt that comes out of it. Just a regular thing. So unscrew the bolt, essentially bolt sides down, and you're going to be screwing it back in once you place it in the hole. Now, you're going to get this little piece here, which is the fork, and little hook. Just bolt it in using the hexagonal bolt. Again, just judge by size which one's the right one. It doesn't need to be overkill. Once you've done that, you're going to put the hook onto the bottom rung here and get the little impact here. So it should be squishy, but it's not. It's rock solid. After that, we're going to look at the actual Smith machine part. So you're going to have the pole. It's not going to have this end on here. That goes on last. So you have the pole. Essentially, this part here will slide across the pole. Make sure that the fat bit's facing outside. And essentially just slide it on. It's easy enough. And then you just want to hook it on one of the rungs and do the other side the same as well. Now, when I first put it on, I did notice that there was a gap in between the hook and the pole, but when I tightened everything up, it kind of just closed up. You can see it a little bit on this side still, but that's okay. No big deal. Now, with putting this on the pole in, there was 2 different methods that I saw. One was just to hook these 2 together here. Like, just keep them nice and close. Just feed the pole through there, and to the bottom, if you're able to do that. Now, when I was putting it together, I was really struggling to do that. It just wasn't aligning for me. It didn't want to be my friend. So what I had to do was I ran it through this one and the little shock absorber, put it in there, and then I needed a second person to help me. And I actually needed to lift it above and slide it down from the top to get it to fit properly, so it would align, and then essentially guide it down to the bottom. But either way can work. If you can do it the first way, it is easier. The second way was harder, but that's the way I had to do it. Now, that's essentially your Smith machine part done. The next part you want to do is, I don't know what you call these little doodads, but you're just going to do this part first. We're not going to worry about that with the pulleys. That's for later. So essentially, just slide this one over the top of the silver bar. You got your little knob there. Screw it in, feed it in wherever you feel like. So do both sides of that. Now, after that, just going to go to the back one here. So you want the back beam, it'll come along. You'll have the little black thing sticking up there so you know it's the back. You're going to put the silver pole in there, easy enough. Bolt it in with one of your little hexagonal bolts. And then after that, what you want to do is feed this thing over the top of it. Essentially just make sure that the screw part is facing upwards. I made that mistake after I put it together, realized it was facing the bottom and I couldn't use it, so I had to take it apart and change the orientation of it before I put it back together. So do better than I do. Alright, so we've got the pole, we've got the back part, we've got the bottom of the frame. You should have the sides as well. From here, we need to do the top. So you've got your grip here, crossbar up the top here, got your pulleys as well, and another crossbar up the top here. Now, I did this crossbar up the top here after I put it up, just because it was a bit easier for me. Now, we'll get back to the part where I said the side's flat. Now, also, I forgot to mention, when you're doing the bolts up and that, you don't have to do them super tight. Just hand tighten them, keep them loose, tighten it all up after you finish building everything. So essentially, with the top part, I strongly recommend putting most of it together on the ground, and then using that extra person that you brought along to help you lift it up and on top. And essentially it's a lot easier to put it on as a unit. So you want to make sure with this top part, the parts of the holes go at the back. Now, when you put it on, you've got your flat bit here. You're going to sit the horizontal bar on top, and then after that, your crossbar is going to go on top of that because it's going to hold it in place for you. With the pull-up bar, make sure you got your backing plates on there as well. And you can put your pulleys on, not the cable, we'll do that afterwards, but put your pulleys on, that way you don't have to be tightening them up when you get back up top. Just remember when you're tightening your pulleys, you still want a little bit of leeway, you don't want too much friction on it, so just tight enough that it hangs onto it and it doesn't wobble, but not tight enough that it doesn't spin. Because that's going to cause friction when you're trying to use the cables, and it's no fun for anyone. Now, with the top here, so you're going to lift it up the top, just make sure these holes, there's big holes here, make sure the silver pole's guided into the holes, that's really your marker, and then once you get it up there, you want to bolt everything in. So you're going to bolt in your silver bar, that's already sitting in place. Once you get your crossbar sitting up there, you do that afterwards, trust me. Once you got your crossbar sitting in there, feed that through, bolt that in. These pulleys, as I said, you want to do this bar. You can do it later on, or you can do that bar while it's on the ground. Don't put the pulleys in yet on this side because we'll get to that later. And once you've done the top part, you do the crossbar, and then that's it for that. Then afterwards, after you get that top part on there, you want to do this angular part here. So bolt that in as per normal. Don't worry about the pulley yet. You'll get to them later. Make sure you bolt them up. And again, got another backing plate on there as well, just to make sure it doesn't move. And that's really it for the frame at the moment. What we'll do is we'll take 5 and go get yourself a drink, something to eat, because I know I've made this into a 15-minute video, but it's going to take way longer than 15 minutes for you to put it together. So go have a break, pat yourself on the back, and then we'll come back and do cables. All right, and we're back. I hope you had a good break. It's time to get back into it and do the cables. Now, with the cables, they're going to come all filled up. It works out to be only 4 cables in this whole thing, which is great. So, it looks complicated, but it's not, I promise you. So you've got one very long cable. It's going to have 2 of these, I don't know the technical name, I'm going to call it a bauble. 2 baubles at the end. You're then going to get 2 cables. So you'll have 1 long cable, 2 of these cables where the end leads to nothing. And they're going to have a round metal part, which I'm just going to call an anchor on it. And then essentially there is 1 more with a bauble and an anchor on it. And then you've got your last one, which is the one that screws into the back and pulls up the weight, which is this one here. And that also has an anchor on it. Okay, so first off, what we want to do, so we want to install these things here. So essentially, you can do the pulley at the bottom. Don't do the pulley at the top yet. That's for afterwards. You want to feed a bolt through, up, down, it doesn't matter, who cares. Make sure I was able to fit in there an extra washer, just to make sure that swiveling reduces the wear there as well. So you want to bolt that up. I suggest putting the pulley in before you bolt it up. So just make sure it's on an angle like that. The pulleys are really easy to put in place. It's just the hex bolt, washer, nut. So it's really easy. So start on one side, put the bauble in, install this thing. What you want to do is then run the cable along the top, along the pulleys you already installed. The other bauble's going to come down through this part, that's why it's there. And then essentially, we don't need to do this part yet. So what you want to do is just run it along the top. Don't put these pulleys in yet. Just run it along the top, feed it back through here, come along the top and join it up on that side. Let all the slack come to the back of it, just because we are going to do the up down with the pulleys and that eventually. Now, you could really do these in any order. It doesn't particularly matter. However, what I found easiest is to do this one because it's a nice quick one. Just screw that one in, run it along, put this pulley in. Now, you should have 2 black plastic grommets with circles on them, like they're circular. They're going to sit in between the washer and the metal because you'll notice the circle's a bit larger, and it'll be on each side. Essentially, this just stops the bolt from moving because it's a larger thing. I don't know why, but it is. Insert your pulley in there, bolt it in, run the cable along, put in the pulley for this one. Just leave your anchor hanging. You don't necessarily need to do anything with it at the moment, but run that one through. Then what we want to do, as I said, it's really in no particular order. However, I ran these ones next. So you should have these little hexagon screws here, little black ones. Have like a couple of centimeters of leeway on there. Run it down through a pulley here. So install the pulley through the base, through the base here as well, through another pulley, and then essentially just leave the anchor hanging out. We'll fix that up soon. I actually just noticed that my anchor isn't in my pulley, so I'm going to have to fix that. That's going to be fun. And then do the same thing on the other side as well. So cable through anchor. So from there, what we want to do is we want to get the slack from this one that we installed. So you're going to make just like a semicircle here. Sit a pulley in the middle of it. And these are where our round brackets come in. So use the round brackets on it. So put the pulley in first with the bracket on it. And then essentially what you want to do is get the cable that's running along the bottom. Pull that up. Put a pulley in. Run the cable through. And then you want to bolt the anchor down here. And that's your first side done. Now, with the one that runs up the top, that's going to go up to this pulley up here. You can kind of just leave that hanging with the slack for the moment. And then what you want to do is do the same thing to the other side and run them along to these pulleys here. And now this is where all the kind of action happens in here. So once you've got them running along the tops here, come down here. You'll have a little fork thingy here. So like a metal plate here, metal plate here. Now you'll have this one more cable down the bottom here. So that's the bauble and anchor. So you want it to run it along here. Pull this down from the top, so get all the slack from it. Put a pulley in, put another pulley in, run the cord from the pulley to this one here. And then we're going to go up the top here. Now you're going to have the anchor there to a fork, metal fork. Run a pulley through here as well, all the way down, and there'll be one last anchor there. So this is for the bottom cable, so it should go through all that. And then that should be all your cabling done. And if you are better than me, you'll have all of it not running out of pulleys, and everything should be all set up, which is great. So hopefully that was able to help you out. Now, the last bit is going to be the accessories. Now, the cables, while they're not as demanding as doing the frame, mentally figuring that out hurt my brain a lot. So I took a break. Suggest you do the same, and then we'll do the accessories after that. All right, so we should have our frame set up. Should have our cable set up. The bolts are still only hand tightened, and essentially we just need to do our accessories and then the tightening. So the accessories are pretty simple. You should have long black thing, 4 of these shorter things. You should also have a metal pole. It's generally black, about yay long. Make sure to bolt that black yay long pole into the side here. Put the cover on. This is where the Allen keys finally come in useful. So this will be the small Allen key. This will be another Allen key here, which will go onto the end of your Smith machine. And the last set will go onto here, where your weights are going to hang. So they're going to go on there. And then you're going to have, as you probably already figured out, you've got your squat here, your dips here, catch here. These are simple enough, so they're just plug and play essentially. Okay, there we go. And you should also have these accessories that come with it. So you got your handle, chains. You can hang your accessories up on these hooks as well. That's basically all I found useful for them. You should have a single pole. It'll also come with a pulley, and there's a larger crossbar and pull up thing as well. All right, this thing, I know this is for, you stick the pole in there, you lift it up and down, you give yourself a hernia. Okay, so what you want is you'll have this bit here, so the Y bracket, the smooth circle with the Y bracket, and then the big thing. Now you should have two really large bolts which have actually like a smooth side to them, so it'll be smooth from like here to here and then screw for the rest of it. So you should have one regular bolt that'll fit through there. Don't worry about tightening this up too much either, even when the final product's done, because it's going to want to swivel and move a bit. So make sure to just keep that a little bit loosey-goosey. Run the long pole through here. Take that, run the long pole, long bolt, not a pole, long bolt through there, and your little circly thing will go on there as well. And then that should be it for that accessory there. And that's really it. You should be, in theory, looking at a completed Smith machine. If you're not, then go back through it. Try and work it out. It took me multiple goes at trying to build this. Like I literally had to pull things apart this morning that I did yesterday and fix it up. You saw the cable. I'll fix that now, but cable was out of its place. That was my bad. After all that, you're going to want to tighten all your bolts. It doesn't particularly matter which order that you go in. So most of them are hand tightened. I generally start with the frame. I actually did the base, like I tightened them first because I got sick of things shaking and moving while I was doing it. So I tightened the base first and basically just worked my way up with the frame, then did the pulleys. As I said, with the pulleys, you really want them so that they still move, but it's hugging it so they don't move sideways. So it's not too tight. But yeah, essentially you should be all done. Should be able to get on and exercise, which should be great. Healthy for everyone. Now, as I said, if you got stuck, go back through the video, try and maybe watch it in slow motion. I hope I've covered everything. If I didn't, please leave a comment and I'll try and answer it to the best of my ability. I'm not a content creator by any means. Just thought it'd help having like a build tutorial for other people that struggled like I did, just so you guys can knock off a couple of hours off your build that I've had to go through, because we do it better together, and you got this. Boop.